Everybody, Ryan Gibbons of the Gibbons Team with eXp Realty here, and I wanted to give you our latest Bergen County market update. And typically I do these for 1 month period of time, but with what's happening with COVID in our area, I want to do these every 2 weeks to give you a real understanding of what is actually happening here on the ground in Bergen County. So we're going to go through the stats of what's happening. We're just going to talk about what affects right now. So we're not going to talk about solds. We're not going to talk about average sales prices. We're just going to talk about actual listings and sales. So the good thing is that houses are still selling. There are still people that need to move. They need to move out of their houses or need to move into a new house. So, things are moving. It's very difficult to do things lately, but they are happening. So let's take a look at the numbers, and we'll talk about kind of what this means and what we see going forward. So the first thing that we're going to look at is new properties. We saw 158 new properties hit the market in the last 2 weeks. So for April, we saw 158 properties. That is actually a 79% drop from the first 2 weeks of April last year, and it is a 41% drop from what we saw at the beginning of this at the end of March. So our numbers are continuing to drop. They dropped drastically when COVID started, and they're continuing to drop. So new houses are really just not hitting the market at a very high number. We did see 157 homes go under contract, which is about even with what's coming on the market. But that's a 65% drop from last year. So not surprising. The amount of homes that are actually have an accepted contract and are moving forward are a drastic drop from this time last year. And that's also a 44% drop from the end of March. So, we saw a big drop then, and we're continuing to see a drop in the amount of under contract properties. The amount of withdrawn and expired properties, so basically the people that are no longer on the market, that didn't sell and are no longer on the market, we saw 184 of those. So that's not down as much. It's down 28% from last year, but it's also down 44% from the first 2 weeks. So basically more people let their houses expire and withdrew. So a bigger percentage of those people, did that at the end of March. So really when this started. So we're not seeing as many people take their houses off the market. Currently we have about 1,800 homes on the market in Bergen County. That's a 39% drop from the first 2 weeks of April of last year. And it's an 8% drop from the last 2 weeks of March. So we've seen, we're continuing to see houses come off the market, from what we've seen in the past. Good thing for buyers is that we have 5.4 months of inventory. And what does that mean? So basically it means that it would take 5.4 months for everything that's on the market to sell. So for buyers, it's the buyer's market that you've been looking for. Not surprising. There's not a lot of people out looking. So we would have a buyer's market right now. So for those of you that actually really do need to move, it's a good time. The inventory is in your favor. For those sellers, for anyone who's on the market, it's when we're taking different precautions. There are waivers that we're signing to allow people to show houses, basically asking about symptoms and exposure to COVID. It's becoming harder to sell. So, for anyone that has to sell, you're going to need to price aggressively, and try and move the house. For anyone who is thinking about selling, wait. The best course of action for anyone that does not have to sell is to wait until this subsides at least. Until it's easier for buyers to go into houses and it's more comfortable for buyers to go into houses. So it's a difficult time. There are a lot of things changing, with different paperwork that we have to fill out to show houses. The methods that we're using to sell houses are different. The methods that we're having to do presentations for buyers and sellers is different. So we're figuring out ways to do this, to be socially responsible, to use social distancing. But houses are selling. It's very difficult to do that. It's a difficult situation, but they are happening. So the market has not stopped. Lenders are still lending, though it is getting harder. The requirements to get lending are getting harder. So if you're on the borderline of being able to qualify, you're going to want to have that conversation with your lender. If you're a really solid buyer, then chances are you're going to be okay. So if you have any questions about any of this stuff, I know it's really not great news that we're sharing right now, but it is what it is. We'll get through this. The market will rebound, and we will get back to some sort of normal in the next few months. So if you have any questions about any of this, please give me a call. My number is 201-446-8190. I hope you're all safe. Be well. Wash your hands. We'll see you soon.